Welcome back to CBS 2 News at Noon. It's time for Health Matters, and we have Taylor Parker here. He's the president of Concept by Iowa Hearing Aid Centers. He's one of our regulars now, and today we're talking about hearing loss and what it can do for you mentally. And we touched on the subject of dementia last time, that hearing loss can affect that.
Yeah, so what we're really talking about is your brain. Your brain is the central processor. Your ears just conduct the sound. So if you're not getting the signals to the brain, your brain is actually losing. It's just losing the ability to understand words, and that's where the link to dementia comes in. You think of your brain as a pie. You only have that pie, and if you're not using it to its fullest capability, it's cheating other areas. So we're actually depriving other areas of our brain to focus on hearing loss if we're not treating it. So it has to pull from somewhere else to overcompensate for our hearing loss. And hearing loss is actually a very taxing mentally, to be able to understand, comprehend, and sort through sounds, words, and all the things that go on in a given day. So by not treating it, we're actually harming our brain long term, and that's where the link to depression, link to dementia, all those things come into play because we become isolated. We actually withdraw from activities. You get anxiety about an event coming up, such as a dance or a wedding or just going out with your friends to play cards and have dinner. You find yourself getting anxiety and withdrawing from those events because you know you won't be able to hear very well, or you cause stress on your other family members, your spouse. Your spouse kind of becomes then your crutch, your interpreter for all the events that go on. They want to make sure that you're involved, so it becomes a job for them as well. So all these things provide stress, not only on the individual mentally, but on your spouse or your loved one as well. But the main key is getting the signals to the brain. People will say, well, I can hear, but I can't understand words. That just means that you can hear the sounds, but your brain has to be able to interpret it, comprehend it, and then form a word and be able to understand that. If I say tractor, does your brain interpret tractor or does it interpret strawberries? And if it interprets tractor, then that's something that we can, with hearing aids, will help. But if your brain is lost the ability to understand words, that can't be brought back. So it's important treating a hearing loss very early rather than waiting, because we're just causing our brain detriment. It's use it or lose it as far as an organ goes. So having the ability to understand and keeping those signals going to the brain keeps us, mentally charged as we move forward.
So, I mean, really the benefit of getting a hearing aid is just keeping your brain active and keeping your life going.
Correct, keeping the signals going to the brain. So you want the correct signals going to the brain. That's why they always say that activity is always good for someone that has, to help prevent dementia. The number one thing you can do is play the piano, and it's the hand-eye coordination, the mental, I guess the workmanship of constantly keeping your brain active. By not getting the signals to your brain, you're actually becoming sedentary, and your brain isn't staying active, and thus causing, the domino effect of everything else that goes on.
So a hearing aid is definitely not something you want to put off. If you have hearing loss, definitely deal with it. Again, this is Taylor Parker. He's the president of Concept of Iowa Hearing Aid Centers. If you have any questions or you need to look into your hearing loss, contact them. They're more than willing to help. We're going to have Taylor back here next week to talk about some more about hearing loss and how to save yourself from it and the problems that come along with it. Thank you so much, Taylor. And we'll be right back with CBS 2 News at Noon.